Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic edition of Sit Back with Shaq and Anu right here on the World Cup season. It's Payback. And man, what exciting matches we've been having so far.
I tell you, especially today, changed the game completely, I feel.
For sure.
And I don't know what Ireland must be feeling like right now.
I mean, yesterday I remember I said the brothers are having, brothers are taking on each other. And he said, no, I wouldn't call them brothers. Look at it now. Pat.
Well, it really opens up everything. And Sri Lanka finds themselves in a... we find ourselves in a nice spot, I'd say.
We do. But things obviously now what it has happened is there's no clear favorite in the group. As a matter of fact, all the teams have played 2 matches each. Almost everybody has 2 points except for Afghanistan, which has got 1 point. And I think New Zealand has 3 points. Hence, they are right on top. Sri Lanka is in second place. But lots to talk about today. Thank you very much, Softlogic Live, for being a part of our show. Not forgetting Edge Vantage Workflows. And Daraz, as always, on the show with us. At the beginning of the show, we are going to go into the details from Down Under. Let's find out what we have today. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we are back, and of course, let's look at what's happened today. Very interesting things, of course. Let's take a look at the screen. Right, Ireland. Ireland, I think, surprised themselves more than anybody else. But I told you this Duckworth-Lewis is, it never has it worked to our advantage. I have to say, Shaq. That's why I hate Duckworth-Lewis. But Ireland reaping the benefits today, and of course, I think we've got the flags changed for. Ireland looking very different.
They are not going to be happy.
Especially with, 1,000 years of history that we know about. Anyway, so they have won today's match by 5 runs. And that was amazing because, the latter half of the game was completely washed out. And it is what it is. England, I think, got the grandmother of all shocks. And what can you do? You've lost it, right? And of course, the second match abandoned completely because it was completely washed out.
So now tomorrow's matches, big ones, of course. South Africa take on Bangladesh. Netherlands take on India in Sydney, both those matches. And of course, Pakistan take on Zimbabwe in Perth at the Perth Stadium. 3 matches tomorrow. This was, of course, released today. The T20 rankings of the bowlers right on top. Rashid Khan sitting happy on top. And if you take a look at Warindu Hasaranga, his position has actually dropped by 3. He was the 3rd best bowler in T20. His position has dropped by 3 after yesterday's performance.
Yeah, after Australia, I mean, what can you do?
They just went crazy. They just went ape
Possessed is how best you can describe it. And their bowler, the bowlers, the pace attack was amazing, and I was actually really, really proud of our players, of the Sri Lankan players, for actually surviving them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
and I really thought we were in with a really good chance.
We were, till we actually were sort of struck by the Marcus Stoinis thunder. That's about it. And then that just completely changed everything.
Men's
T20 rankings, Mohammad Rizwan still on top, and we've got Pathum Nissanka, who has, of course, in the top 10. He's been in the top 10 for a while. Congratulations to him. He's still at number 8. So Pathum, of course, also played a very good innings yesterday against Australia. Unfortunate run out there. It was really his fault. Those are your T20 rankings. What else do we have? Group 1 qualifications. After today's abandonment, New Zealand actually have a 55% chance. Australia has a 44% chance. Sri Lanka has a 36% chance. And this is, of course, in this particular group to move in to the semis. All the statisticians are out with their numbers and whatnot.
I don't know how this percentage works because this is calculating from about 150%.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like it.
Yeah.
We'll see how things go about, and well, here you go.
Yeah.
This is something that we actually spoke to Vasi the other day. I remember you asked this question.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernando injury
Yeah. Now it's happened. So I really don't know what are we going to do about this.
I think I don't know. There are 3 players who actually didn't get the visas till today. So now they've actually got that. So they're on their way to Australia. So hopefully they will at one point join the team if it's required. 6 injuries Sri Lanka has actually had, who have all missed out in the World Cup so far.
It would be absolutely diabolical if we were to lose because of injury.
Yeah, well, it's pretty unfortunate. Imagine yesterday on that pitch if you had Dushmanta Chamira, Pramod Lakshan, and Madhushan, and also Lahul Kumar. It'll be absolutely fantastic. Those are the stories that we have for you. Details. Here we go. The points table I was telling you about.
Right.
So New Zealand at the top 3, and then you got Sri Lanka, England. You've got Ireland, Australia right at the bottom, and Afghanistan. Now, what is going to happen on Friday, Anu?
Yeah.
England take on Australia, right?
Right.
So the loser of that match is in all probability out of the tournament.
England versus Australia.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Loser in all probability will actually be out of the tournament.
Okay.
That's crazy. I mean, I don't know. Imagine Australia hosting the match, hosting the tournament. England, their arch rivals.
Yeah.
Imagine England knocking out Australia in a World Cup with a Asian descent Prime Minister. Imagine! Oh my God!
That's a conquer that is bragging rights for at least 10 years, I'd say.
It'll be amazing. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen. Details of Down Under. We're going to take a break, come back. We've got Rex Clementine standing by in Perth, live from the Perth airport right after this.
Client's bowling bounces at you. With Edgevantage, you can ensure there are no more nasty surprises. Get all your client interactions managed in a structured process, so you know what's coming at you next. Edgevantage from SP Solutions. Corporate events, weddings, concerts, or simply getting fuel with the QR code. Let us help you take your big day to the world with a professional broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, MS Teams, or your website at the most affordable rates. So give us a call and let's go live. PodHub.
ඕවර් එකයි ලකුණු 8යි විකට් එකයි ඉංග්‍රීසි වල නියපොතු ඉවරයි නායක දසුන් ශානකට ලොකු අභියෝගයක් වේගෙන් යවන චමීරද දඟ කවන හසරංගද දඟ කරන්නේ චාමික නේද දඟ කරන නෙමෙයි දඟ කවන වවුබිමේ බලාපොරොත්තු සුරතට රැගෙන අවසන් ඕවරේ එවීමට ශානක ගොට් හි ශ්‍රී ලංකා වී අභියෝගය මොකක් වුණත් මේ රට දිනනවාමයි come on ශ්‍රී ලංකා අපිට පුළුවන්
Softlogic Live ලංකාවේ හොඳම සෞඛ්‍ය රක්ෂණයෙන් සුබ පැතුම්.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this is the World Cup Payback series courtesy of Softlogic Live with Edgevantage, Workflows and Daraz on the show with us. We are crossing over live to Perth right now.
Absolutely, and see what the atmosphere is like.
Yeah, not much of an atmosphere in the airport. Rex Clementine! Hi, Rex.
Hi guys. Hi guys.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just about to fly off to Sydney for Saturday's game, Sri Lanka and New Zealand. Should be a good game. Quite tough one last night. Sri Lanka going down to Australia by 7 wickets. Hopefully they'll bounce back. The issue is the number of injuries that they've got. Six players so far. Binuro Fernando last night, and it just keeps growing. It's certainly a huge concern moving ahead in the tournament.
Rex, actually, what happened to Binura? I mean, what did he pull, a hamstring or what?
Yeah, so all the fast bowlers, they've been sort of, having muscle injuries. Dushmanta was a calf. The other three guys have been down with hamstring. Oh, sorry, Dirishan Madhushanka was not actually a hamstring. He tore a quad muscle. So, yeah, but all muscle injuries when it comes to fast bowlers. Nobody sort of got it on the net. So, while playing, it's all just muscle injuries.
Okay, Rex, now let's just quickly talk about yesterday's match, of course. Everybody did definitely think that it was not going to be easy to knock over the Aussies, especially in Perth.
Yeah.
But what is your opinion about Sri Lanka's performance yesterday?
Yeah, you see, usually, when you go to Perth, we know the history. Sri Lanka has played 17 ODIs in Perth and lost 15 of them. So that's not a very good record. Although they did win the only T20 international that they played in Perth, that was in 2010. But historically, they've not done well in Perth at all. Both the test matches they played, they lost by an innings. So the record in Perth has been not so good. So I don't think, there was a lot of people expecting Sri Lanka to beat Australia in Perth. I think they purposely fixed that game in Perth as well, knowing that Australia would be tough to beat. And apparently there was a grass cover of 6.4 millimeters, I'm told, which is like
Wow.
big. And Australia used up 5 quicks as well. I don't know whether it was the right decision to go with the 2 spinners. Maybe we should have played only Asaranga, and maybe left out Thikshan and got in another fast ball. Kafin Rajita was in the squad, and Bindu Fernando going out after just 5 balls was a massive blow. So 158. Maybe we should have gone on and got to 180 after the start that we got, but the middle order didn't fire. But then still, we could have made a game out of it. Not having Buehler was a big disadvantage. And then, Australia is such a well-rounded side. Such a side with so many match winners. Someone like Steve Smith can't get into the side. So, it was just some insane hitting by Marcus Stoinis, and he got his 50 in just 15 balls. And I don't think there was much the Sri Lankan blokes could do. If you see that he was targeting mostly the spinners, so maybe a bit of pace could have unsettled him. I don't know whether they're thinking now whether they got the combination wrong. I certainly think that when they are playing in Perth, they should have gone with additional pace.
Rexy, whatever you say in terms of Australia and how great Australia is, but this is not necessarily an Australian team of the past that we're seeing, are we? It's still a very shaky team. I don't think they're very sure about their positions either. I mean, you did say that Steve Smith is a classy batsman who's sitting on the bench because he can't really make it into the 11, because I suppose he can't accelerate as fast as the others do. But this is not a very confident Australian team, is it, Rex?
You see, yeah, that's right. The issue with Australia right now is I think that they've played too much of cricket leading into the World Cup. That's what's really getting into them. Thankfully, they've not got that. They've not had too many injuries. They've been able to get all their players on the park without any major injury concerns. But you get the feeling that they are a little bit jaded, and that's sort of having an effect on him. You see, even if they sort of go on to turn things around, the defeat in the first match is going to really hurt them. 89-run defeat that left them with a minus 4.5 net run rate. Although they did do some catch-up work yesterday by trying to score some quick runs, I think that initial net run rate that they gave away will come back to haunt them. And especially some of the Melbourne games, it's expected to affected by rain. So if England versus Australia is wash out, then they'll be sort of in a very precarious position.
But you also have today's games, of course. We automatically qualified into the group of death with the greatest difficulty in the qualifiers. Now it's completely open wide, Rex. After today's, unexpected results. England going down to Ireland, and the no result between Afghanistan and New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, in Australia, if you want to play teams like New Zealand and England, and if you're told to pick up a venue, I'm pretty sure Sri Lankans would pick Sydney. Sydney, obviously, suits spin bowlers. Australia have just given only one test match for us over the years in Sydney, and very rarely they give us ODI games as well, because they know that Sydney is to our players like it. So I think, when you sort of think that Sri Lanka is playing New Zealand and England in Sydney, they would certainly fancy their chances. And their other opponent, they've got 3 more games left. The other opponents are obviously Afghanistan, that's in Brisbane. So the Sydney games are in between the Afghanistan game. And I have a feeling if they sort of pull off 2 of those games and don't make a mess of their net run rate, they should be able to, make it to the semis.
But shouldn't you actually be targeting the next 3 games, Rex? Obviously, I suppose the next games possibly to be targeting will be New Zealand, Afghanistan, and South Africa. Really, and if you roll over the Englishmen, then that's a bonus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, also, it's very important in the groups, in the Super 12s, that you win many games as possible. The reason being, for the next World Cup, the teams that are in top 8 are going to sort of get automatically qualified for the World Cup without having to play the qualifying round. That rule wasn't there last time around. It was like the top 8 ranked teams only qualified automatically, but this time around they've changed the rule, and if you end up top 8, then you automatically qualify. Now, West Indies and USA, they'll be obviously there because they are the hosts. So it's very important for us to make sure that we don't drop below. Even if Sri Lanka don't qualify for the semis, they got to make sure that one of their priorities has to be to make sure they gain automatic qualification for the next World Cup in USA and West Indies. Because this business of playing qualifying round, I don't think for a team that has reached 3 finals. In T20 World Cups, I don't think that's doing justice for a team with so much of talent and which has been so consistent in T20 World Cups over the years.
Rex, now let's quickly take a look at what replacement we have, because clearly I can't remember another World Cup that we've gone into where we've been hampered by so many injuries. It's like basically guys are falling off like flies.
Absolutely, and 3 more fast bowlers have actually joined the team, right?
2 bowlers and Niroshan Dikwala is actually they're flying off to Melbourne, but they're going to be, what I heard, Rex, is they're going to be practicing separately, and if they're required, they will actually join the team.
Yeah, they'll be based in Melbourne. Tim McCaskill, who's the high performance manager, will be sort of accompanying the team. I think one of the 2 guys, the 2 quicks, will be immediately joining the squad in Sydney because they need to replace someone with Binro Fernando. So that has to be done. I think the other 2 guys will be based in Melbourne and training, and if there is a necessity, they'll be brought in. This reminds me, Shaq, of our 2015 World Cup campaign. On the eve of the tournament in Christchurch, Damika Prasad broke down, and it just went on and on and on and on. And eventually, by the time that we reached the quarterfinals against South Africa, about 7 players, not 7, maybe, I think about 6 players had returned home, and we could not compete well in that quarterfinal, and it was a disaster. We lost very badly. Again, that game was in Sydney. There was a lot of hope because, as I said, in conditions like Sydney, a team like South Africa, in a knockout game, you would fancy your chances. But with the amount of injuries that they had in that campaign, couldn't really match South Africa. And this looks like a similar scenario. Take the case of Dushman Chamira. He's like, they protected him since March this year with only one reason. They didn't play him any cricket at all. They just wanted him fully fit for the World Cup. They could have actually, played him in the Asia Cup towards the tail end because he had recovered from the ankle injury, but they just said, no, we don't want to take a chance. We want him fresh for the World Cup. And everyone knows what devastating effect that he can have and what damage he can do in a place like Australia. But very unfortunate, played just one game, second game broke down and it's back home. Sorry, he's not gone back home. He stayed back in Melbourne to go through surgery now. Although it's a calf injury, he had been delaying ankle surgery. So now that they've thought he's not going to be available for 6 months, why not do the surgery? So he's going through ankle surgery in Melbourne. I think Dr. David Young is supposed to take care of him. Very reputed surgeon who's done surgeries on several Sri Lankan cricketers. And so that's massive blow. Losing Dushmanta in that fashion.
එක්ස් අපිට 3 දිනකින් විතර ගහන්න බෑනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ යාළු ෆිට් එකට ඇෆ්ගනිස්තාන් වලින් 8 දිනක් වගේ ඇද්දලා අපේ කට්ටිය වෙනුවට ගායි කියලා එහෙම බෑනේ.
අතර මේ ලංකාවේ ක්‍රිකටර්ස්ලා ගොඩක් අය මේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඉන්නවා. සයිඩි ෂාන් වගේ කෙනෙක් එහෙම
ඒක තමයි.
මේ එන්නේ කියලා කිව්වනම් එහෙම බැරි වෙන එකක් නෑ. යගේ මොකක් කරගෙන ගොඩක් පාස් වෙනවා ඉන්නවා. ඒට ඇවිලා මේ ඉන්න කට්ටිය. මම හිතන්නේ අදිසියක් වුණොත් එහෙම ගෙන්න ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
I think at this rate, most probably, we are definitely going to say last man has chance.
ඒ වගේම මම හිතන්නේ මේ අපි මේක ඉතාමත් උනන්දුවෙන් බලන්න ඕන ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඇයි මේ මෙච්චර මේ ක්‍රීඩකයෝ ඉන්ජ වෙන්නේ කියලා. මේක සීරියස් ප්‍රශ්නයක්. මොකද මේ අපේ මේ කැම්පේන් එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ඒෂියා කප් එක දිනාට පස්සේ ප්‍රේක්ෂක ජනතාව අතරේ සෑහෙන
I think we just
the video seems to have come to an end there.
Hopefully we're getting back on. But Rex, like I said, he's waiting to catch his flight to Sydney. He's at the Perth airport, and as you can see, he's talking very softly because clearly he doesn't want to attract attention around him. Right?
He might be, yes. He might get some animosity also. You never know. Especially because, people in this part of the world or any nation that's actually been playing cricket for a long time, they take it very, very seriously and they're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
So, you've got to be...
Plus, he's in a public place.
Yeah,
so he needs to also respect the rules, etc. that's going on.
Yeah. But I like what he said, Shaq. There are so many Sri Lankans in Australia, especially in Melbourne and Sydney. So, Maruman,
I think we got it back on the show right now. Let's see. Rex, they're back.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Rex, මෙතන තියෙන ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් now. What do we do now? මේක දැන් කොහොමද ගෙනියන්නේ now? We're still at the early stage of the tournament.
මම හිතන්නේ මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට අපි වෙලා බලන්න ඕනේ අපේ ට්‍රේනින් මෙතඩ්ස් හරිද කියලා. දැන් මම හිතන්නේ ගොඩක් අපේ තියෙන්නේ ජිම් එක තියෙන ෆිට්නස් රෙජිම් එකක් නේ තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ ඒක අපි වෙලා බලන්න ඕනේ. මේක මේ අධි ක්‍රමයේද නැත්නම් මේක මේ අපේ මේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස්ලාට විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි පරණ තාලට යන්න ඕනේ කියලා. මම හිතන්නේ දැන් ඔයාලා ගත්තොත් එimhe චමින්ද වාස් වගේ කෙනෙක් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට ක්‍රිකට් ගැහුවා අවුරුදු 16ක් ගැහුවා. ටෙස්ට් තරඟ 100කට වැඩිය ගැහුවා. ඉංග්ලිෂ් කවුන්ටි සීසන්ස් මම හිතන්නේ 10ක් ගැහුවා. කවුන්ටිස් 4කට මිඩල්සෙක්ස්, අම්ෂයර්, එතකොට වූස්ටර් සහ නතන් කවුන්ටිස් 4කට සීසන්ස් 10ක් ගැහුවා. ඒ 10ක් ගහලා ටෙස්ට් මැච් 100ක් ගහලා ඔහුට තිබුණේ එක මේජර් ඉන්ජරි එකයි. ඔහු මිස් කළේ එක 2 එකක් විතරයි මිස් කළේ. ඉතින් ඔහුගේ ඒ කන්ට්‍රිබියුෂන් එක මම හිතන්නේ ගොඩක් අය හරියට ඇප්‍රීෂিয়েට් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නිකන් ආපු දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. වාසිය කියන්නේ ෆිට්නස් ෆ්‍රීක්. වඩන්න සෑහෙන ඔහු ඔෆ් සීසන් එකේ දුවනවා කරන්නේ. ආෆ් මැරතන් කරනවා, নানা ප්‍රකාර දේවල් කරනවා. ඉතින් ඒකට යාගේ ෆිට්නස් රෙජිම් එක. ඒ වගේම ඊට කලින් හිටපු ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස් බැලුවොත් ඒ අශාන්ත ඩිමෙල්ලා වගේ කට්ටියෙන් බැලුවොත් මේක මේ තියෙන සිස්ටම් එක හරිද කියලා ප්‍රශ්න කරන්න හරි වෙලාව මේක. මොකද මෙච්චර මේ ඉන්ජරිස් සිද්ධ වෙලා කැම්පේන් එක කඩාකප්පල්කාරී වුණායින් පස්සේ මම හිතන්නේ මේක ප්‍රශ්න කරන්න ඕන හේතුවක් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේක භාග්‍ය යුක්තන් මේක වෙලා බලන්න අවශ්‍යයි.
Next thing, අපි දැන් මම කියන්නේ අපි still in the early stages of the tournament. අපි දැන් කොහොම හරි ගහලා finals ගියොත් right? Doesn't matter if you win or lose. May situation will they be revisiting this injury situation or go ahead with the winning combination that took us to the finals and let the players rehabilitate on themselves? How will the setup work?
We really have to revisit this, right?
Of course.
Yes.
යා දැන් ඔයා බැලුවොත් එම බිනුර ෆර්නැන්ඩෝ ඔහුට ඉන්ජරි එකට පස්සේ එයා එන්නේ මං හිතන්නේ ඔහු ඉන්ජරි එකකින් පස්සේ ඩොමෙස්ටික් මැචස් මං හිතන්නේ ගහලා තියෙන 3ක් විතර තමයි ගහලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මේක මං හිතන්නේ අපි මොකක් හරි සිස්ටම් එකක් දාන්න ඕනේ කවුරු බෝලර් කෙනෙක් විශේෂයෙන් බෝලර් කෙනෙක් ඉන්ජරි එකකින් පස්සේ නැවත කණ්ඩායමට එනවා නම් එයාට මේ තරඟ ගන්න සෙල්ලම් කරලා තමයි ආයෙ නැවත කණ්ඩායමට එන්න ඕනේ කියන මොකක් හරි දෙයක් ඉන්ට්‍රොඩියුස් කරන්න වෙයි. නැත්නම් මේක මේ අත්‍තරම මේ වීලුවක් මේ මිනිස්සු ඉන්නවා මොකද මේ ඇයි මේ මෙච්චර මේ දේවල් වෙන්නේ කියලා. සමහරක් වෙලාවට මේක ගොඩක් අය හිතෙන්න පුළුවන් මනෝස් දෙයක් කියලා ඒක වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒක අපිට රූල් ඔෆ් කරන්න බෑ. මොකද පළවෙනි වටේ තරඟ ක්‍රීඩා කරේ ජිලොං වල සීත ඉතාමත් අරිම සමහරක් වෙලාවට තරඟ තියෙන අවස්ථාවලදී සෙල්සියස් අංශක 9 8 වගේ තත්ත්වයකටත් ගියා උෂ්ණත්වය. ඉතින් ඒක ඇවිල්ලා ලොකු චැලෙන්ජයක් වුණා. සමහරට ඒක දන්නේ නැහැ. අනිත් එක ජිලොං කියන්නේ මේ ක්‍රිකට් ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක ෆුට්බෝල් ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකක්. මේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියන් රූල්ස් ෆුට්බෝල් ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකක්. ඉතින් ඒතනේ අර තියෙන සොයිල් එකේම හරි සොෆ්ට්. ඉතින් ඒවා යම් කිසි ආකාරයක බලපෑමක් අත් වුණාද කියන එක මම දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කෙසේ වෙතත් මම හිතන්නේ අපිට තමත් පළපුරුදු සහ අත්දැකීම් රහිත සහිත කෝචින් ස්ටාෆ් එකක් ඉන්නවා, සපෝට් ස්ටාෆ් එකක් ඉන්නවා. ඔවුන් මම හිතන්නේ මේකට ඒ කරුණු පැහැදිලි කරන්න සමත් වෙයි. ඔවුන්ගෙන් හේතු වෙලා අපි මේකට යම් කිසි ආකාරයක පිළිමක් යොදන්න ඕනේ. මේ ඊගාව කාරණේ තමයි දැන් ඔයා බැලුවොත් අපි රිප්ලේස්මන්ට් ප්ලේ අපේ මේ ටුවර් එකේදී යන ක්‍රීඩකින් 15 දිනකට අමතරව ඉන්නවා ට්‍රැවලින් රිසර්ව්ස් කියලා ක්‍රීඩකින් ඉන්නවා. ට්‍රැවලින් රිසර්ව්ස් අරන් ඇවිල්ලා තිබුණේ අෂේන් බණ්ඩාර සහ ලෙෆ්ට් ආර්ම් ස්පිනර් කවුද මට ආයි නම එන්නේ ලෙෆ්ට් ආර්ම් ස්පිනර් අපි අරන් ඇවිල්ලා තිබුණේ. ඉතින් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාව වගේ තැනකට එනකොට මම දන්නේ ඇයි අපි ට්‍රැවලින් රිසර්ව්ස් ලයිට් ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස් දෙන්නෙක් ගිලා වෙලත් කියන එක ඇවිල්ලා තවත් ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඉතින් මේව තමයි මම හිතන්නේ අපි ඉස්සරහට යනකොට අපි හිතන්න වෙන දේවල්. එතන ඒ ට්‍රැවලින් රිසර්ව්ස් වලින් ඔව් මම දන්නවා අෂේන් බණ්ඩාර එක තරඟයක් ක්‍රීඩා කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. නමුත් ප්‍රවීන් ජයවික්‍රම ඔහුගෙන් මම දන්නේ දෙයක් සිද්ධ වෙනවද කියලා මට හිතා ගන්න බෑ. අනිත් එක ජෙෆ්රි වැන්ඩර්ස් ඔහු කණ්ඩායමේ ඉන්නවා. ලෙග් ස්පිනර් කෙනෙක් වනිදු අසරංග ටීම් එකේ ඉන්නවා. ඔහු මැච් වෙන කෙනෙක්. ඉතින් තවත් ලෙග් ස්පිනර් කෙනෙක් අවශ්‍යද කියන ප්‍රශ්නෙත් පැන නැගෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව අපිට ටුවර් එක පටන් ගත්ත වෙලාවේ නම් අපිට වැඩිපුර ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස් ඇවිල්ලා කියලා නම් එහෙම සමහරක් ලාට උන්ට මේ කන්ඩිෂන්ස් වලට ඇඩ්ජස්ට් වෙන්න තිබුණා ඉක්මනට උන්ට හොඳ සුදානම් යන්න තිබුණා. ඉතින් මේ දේවල් ඒ විදිහට වෙන්න තිබුණා. සමහරක් ලාට අපි මේ ගොඩක් ස්පිනර්ස් ලගේ අදිට මේ නිකන් මේ ඉන්දියාවට වර්ල්ඩ් කප් එකට යනවා වගේ. අපි මේ අරන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ ගොඩක් ඇඩිෂනල් ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා තියෙන ගොඩක් ස්පිනර්ස්ලා අරන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මම ඒ වෙනුවට අර නිකන් අර මම අපි ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කියන්නේ කැරියින් කෝල්ස් නිව්කාසල් කියලා. අන්න ඒ වගේ. ඒ වෙනුවට මම හිතන්නේ පේස් ටිකක් අරන් ආව නම් එහෙම හොඳයි කියලා නිකන් මට හිතෙනවා.
How is the composition of the other teams, Rex? Like, I mean, for instance, Afghanistan or, all the other teams, are they like, pace heavy or, they're backup?
Afghanistan's strength has been never pace. Their strength has been, spin, obviously. They've got some very good spinners. We do have two quality spinners in Asaranga and even Mahesh Theekshan. And then, if you need any backup, you got guys like Dharanjay Silva. I think, that amount of spin for a World Cup in Australia should be sufficient. I don't understand the theory why you got to pack your side with spin and, spinners who have sort of not proved their mettle. I don't understand why you got to do that coming to a place like Australia.
Rexy, then now compared to, for example, countries like Pakistan, even India, where your fast bowlers, you have a factory that actually delivers fast bowlers. Now අපිට ඒ වගේ privilege එකක් නැහැ. And we never had that. I mean, quality fast bowlers coming out of Sri Lanka were once in a blue moon. Now you have 5 or 6 fast bowlers who have already been knocked out. Then කොහෙන්ද ගන්නෙ? කවුද ඉන්නේ?
අපේ ඉස්සල ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් තිබුණා පේසස් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් කියලා තිබුණා කෝචස් රට වටේ ගිහිල්ලා ඒ ටැලන්ටඩ් ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස් ලව කොළඹට ගෙනල්ලා උන්ට ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් තිබුණා. නමුත් දැන් කෝචින් සෙටප් එක වෙනස්. මම හිතන්නේ ඒ පේස් එක වැඩියම මම හිතන්නේ දැන් ටෙන්ෂන් එකක් යන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් ඔයා බැලුවොත් එimhe ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ටෙස්ට් මැච් එකක් ගැව්වොත් එimhe වැඩියම ගන්නේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර් එක්කෙනයි ගන්නේ. ඒ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර් ගැව්වත් එimhe එයා මැච් එකටම දාන්නෙත් ඕවර් 10යි. ඉතින් එහෙම කරන රටක මේ මං හිතන්නේ අපිට මේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස්ලා වැඩි දෙයක් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. මම හිතන්නේ අපේ මේ සෙටප් එකේ මේ මැච් දිනන එක හොඳයි. අපි අපේ කන්ඩිෂන්ස් වල අපිට ඕන විදිහට ලෑස්ති කරලා මේ මැච් දිනන එක ගැන කිසිම සැකයක් නැහැ. නමුත් අනිත් පැත්තට බලනකොට එimhe අපි භාගයක් මැච් ලංකාවේ ගැව්වොත් එimhe භාගයක් මැච් ගහන්නේ ලංකාවෙන් පිට. ඉතින් අපිට ඒක කන්ඩිෂන්ස් වලට හරියන බෝලර්ස්ලා ඇදෙන්න නම් මම හිතන්නේ ප්‍රමාණවත් විදිහට අපි ස්ටොක් එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස්ලාගේ. අපි පිට රටකට ගියාම මුණ දෙන්නේ වගේම ඉන්ජරි සිටුේෂන්ස් වලදී භාවිතා කරන්න. මම හිතන්නේ ඒකට අපි ප්‍රමාණවත් ලෙසට උදානම් වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා මම හිතන්නේ.
Next දැන් ඉස්සරහ යනකොට දැන් අපිට දැන් මේක ඉන්ජරි අපිට ඉන්ජර්ඩ් ප්ලේයර්ස්ලා තිබ්බා මේ අපිට මේ ඉස්සරහට යන්න බැරි වුණා ටූර්නමන්ට් එකේ කියලාද ඔය එක්ස්කියුස් එක යූස් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද?
මං අතලම දසුම් ශාන ගැන කියන්න ඕන හොඳ දෙයක් තමයි ඔහු එක්ස්කියුස් දිහා බලන නායකයෙක් නෙවෙයි. ඔහු ඇවිල්ලා කණ්ඩායම යම් අඩුපාඩුකම් තිබුණත් ඒවා දේවල් ඔක්කොම දාගෙන මගේ අරගෙන ඉස්සරහට යන්න බලන නායකයෙක්. ඒක අපි මම හිතන්නේ ඔහුගේ ඒ ගුණාංගය වර්ණනා කරන්න ඕනේ. මම හිතන්නේ ඔහුට විශාල සේ එකක් දෙන්නටත් ඕනේ මොන වගේ ක්‍රීඩකයින්ද මේ සෙටප් එකට අවශ්‍යයි කියලා කියන දැන් මාන බින්ඩෝ ෆර්නැන්ඩෝ කියන්නේ අතල මාරු ලෙඩ් අවුට් නෑනේ. තකානියක් මව කොළමින් ඉන්නගෙන පළවෙනි මැච් එක ක්‍රීඩා කරද්දිම නිකන් ඒක පෙවුනා. බින්ඩෝ ෆර්නැන්ඩෝ නිකන් ඇවිදින විදිහට සහ දුවන විදිහට මොකක්දෝ මැච් ෆිට් නැති ගතියක් තියනවා වගේ පෙවුනා. ලයික් අර වෝකින් ලයික් ජින්ජලි කියලා කියන්නේ අපි. ඉතින් මේ එතන තිබුණා නිකන් මෙයාගේ ෂුවර් නැති ගතියක් තිබුණා. මේ ඉතින් කිව්වා වගේ මේක ඔහු ආබාධයකට ලක් වුණා. මම දැන් නායකයාට මීට වඩා සේ එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ කණ්ඩායම තෝරද්දී සහ කොයි වගේ ක්‍රීඩකින් සිස්ටම් එකේ ඉන්න ඕනේ කියන දෙයට නායකයාට මීට වඩා සේ එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. මම දන්නවා මෙතන මේ වර්ල්ඩ් කප් එකේ සිනාරියෝ එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන් වෙනස් වෙන්න තිබුණා. ශමීර සහ ඒ වගේම දිල්ෂාන් මල්සංග කියනවා. මොකද දිල්ෂාන් මල්සංග මෙතන කන්ඩිෂන්ස් වල ඔහුගේ ලෙෆ්ට් ආම් වේරියේෂන් එකත් එක්ක ඒ පේස් එකත් එක්ක කණ්ඩායම වලට සෑහෙන අමාරු වෙන්න තිබුණා. දැන් මම ඊවා ලයිව් කුමාර කරපු දැක්කොත් එම මම දැකලා නැහැ ලංකාවේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර් කෙනෙක් අර ඕස්ට්‍රේලියන් බැට්ස්මන් කෙනෙක් ගෙටිම් රැටල් කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ වගේ සිනාරියෝ එක මම ගොඩක් අය කරනවා දැකලා නැහැ. ඔබ්වියස්ලි ලසිත් මාලිංග හොඳ ස්පෙල්ස් ටිකක් දාලා තියෙනවා. ඔහු අපහසුතාවයට පත් කරලා තියෙනවා ඔස්ට්‍රේලියානු ප්‍රතිකරුවන් ඉතිහාස බසර ගීපයකට ඉස්සර. නමුත් ඊට අමතරව මේබි රුමේෂ් රත්නායක මේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් ඇරෙන්න මම දන්නේ මම දැකලා නැහැ. ඒ වගේ අමාරු සිටුේෂන් එක බෝලර් කෙනෙක් දාලා තියලා තිබුණා. ඉතින් එතකොට ඉතින් අපිට පැහැදිලි චමීර සහ දිල්ෂාන් මල්සංග කියන එම කොච්චර මේක වාසියකට හැරෙන්න තිබුණාද කියලා.
දැන් ප්‍රමෝද් බදුෂාන්ගේ ඉන්ජරි සිටුේෂන් එක මොකද? එයාට දැන් නෙක්ස්ට් ගේම් එක ගහන්න පුළුවන් වෙයිද?
ඔහුට මම හිතන්නේ ඊයේ ගේම් එකක් ගහන්න පුළුවන්කමක් තිබුණා. ඔහු ෆිට්නස් ටෙස්ට් එක පාස් වෙලා තිබුණේ. නමුත් වැඩේ කියන්නේ ඒක ලොකු රිස්ක් එකක්. අපි ඊළඟ මැච් එක ගාව ගස්සලා ඇරලා 100% එන්න කලින් මැච් එක ගස්සලා ඇරලා ඔහුත් කඩන් වැටුණා නම් එහෙම එන ඒක ලොකු රිස්ක් එකක්. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ පදුෂාන්ට වඩා කසුන් රාජිත කියන්නේ අපි දැකලා තියෙනවා. ඔහු සෑහෙනොත් කාර්යභාරයක් ඉටු කරනවා. නමුත් ඔහුත් මේ ඉන්ජරි ප්‍රශ්න නිසා සෑහෙන ප්‍රශ්න වලට මුහුණ දෙපා ක්‍රීඩකයෙක්. ඉතින් ඔහුට මම හිතන්නේ ප්‍රයොරිටි එක ලැබෙයි කියලා මට හිතෙනවා සිඩ්නි වලදී ප්‍රමෝද් පදුෂාන්ට වඩා. කොහොම නමුත් මේක මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඇයි මේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස්ට මෙච්චර මේ ඉන්ජරි සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ කියන එක සෑහෙන හිතන්න ඕන ප්‍රශ්නයක්.
ඔව්. සෑහෙන්න හිතන්න විතරක් නෙමෙයි මේ සෑහෙන්න මොනවා හරි ඔකට මේ මොන જાතිය දේවලුත් මොනවා හරි කරලා හිතන්න ඕනේ.
ඔව් බොන්න බෑ දැන් මේ එයාපෝට් එකේ බාර් ඔක්කොම වහලා.
Rex එක අපි next match එක ගහන්නේ සිඩ්නි වල ගහනකොට දැන් අපි කොහොමත් අපේ composition එක මාරු වෙනවාද because like we spoke about earlier Sydney wicket of course helps the spinners එතකොට අපි Jeffrey වගේ ගේනවාද and go with just one pacey like Lahiru Kumara and use Dasun and Charit to actually come on board to use the other overs මොකද හිතන්නේ
මේම ඉතින් අර සිඩ්නි විකට් එක ස්පින් එකට වාසි කියලා කිව්වට අර නිකන් අපේ ලංකාවේ විකට් වගේ නිකන් අර එහෙම කැඩෙන විකට් නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ බැටිං වලට හොඳ සහ පොඩ්ඩක් කැපෙන විකට් තියෙයි. මම හිතන්නේ මේ තුන්වෙනි ස්පිනර් කෙනෙක්ව ගස්සයි කියලා මම හිතන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද එහෙම අවශ්‍ය නම් එහෙම ස්පින් එකෙන් ඕවර් 12ක් දාගන්න පුළුවන්. වනිඳුයි මහේෂ් සහ ධනංජය. ඉතින් එතන 12ක් තියෙන ඉන්න මම හිතන්නේ එහෙම දෙයක් කරයි කියලා. එතන අර මම එකයි කියන්නේ මේ ජෙෆ්රි වැල්ඩර්ස් වගේ කෙනෙක් ගේන්න ඕනේද කියන ප්‍රශ්නාර්ථය මතුවෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තව එතනින් එයාට කවුද ලෙෆ්ට් ආර්ම් ස්පිනර් ඔහු ට්‍රැවලින් රිසර්ව් එකේ ඉන්නේ. ඔහු එතන ඒ පොසිෂන් එක තියාගන්න
So it's
he's back. Is he back?
Okay, so he's not back. So this, like I said, technology as usual lets you down at the crucial moment.
Yeah, but if technology wasn't as savvy as this, how would we be able to actually speak to somebody so far away and still get the ground stories?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, nothing like being there and seeing it and reporting about it. You know? And but what Rex says absolutely begs further conversation and discussion, because what on earth is happening, because clearly whatever fitness we are doing, especially when you're a fast bowler, is not adequate.
It's not, and then consider the fact that so much emphasis has been put into fitness regimes and the training and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, you can't look if it's one or two bowlers. I suppose you can understand. But if you got like about 4 or 5 of them just falling off the shelf like every game they play, there must be.
But what he said made a lot of sense. The first match when the temperature is down to 8 or 9 degrees Celsius, we are absolutely not used to that.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean even if you were playing in Norelia, you're still not used to that because that's about 14.
That's right.
Right. So obviously your body is trying to compensate, keep your regulated temperature in your body. Maybe that could be it. But in which case we have to think about that.
That's the thing.
Because obviously we do play matches in Australia, England, I mean World Cup or any other tournament for that matter, could happen anywhere. So we better be ready for it.
And the thing is this, of course, this is also very smartly sort of aligned in terms of the World Cup, because they are not still into summer as yet.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just the latter part that is basically coming in, just finishing spring. So the cold temperature is still going to be there for a while.
There will be cold days, there will be slightly warmer days,
and there will be rainy days like we discovered today.
Clearly nobody escapes this.
Australia.
Spring has sprung, really. But whatever happens, I don't know. I mean, like, look, American football has an offensive line and a defensive line.
Yeah.
Do we think like that? Do we think like that? We have we have a team which is the summer team. And we have another team which is the winter, fall and spring team. යවල තැන් වලට මේගොල්ලෝගේ practice කරවලා you get them like acclimatized.
Right.
I mean even let's say when the Olympics are happening somewhere, I mean there is high altitude running, there is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
acclimatize a sportsman or a woman to whatever conditions you can face. Why don't we think like this?
Yeah, but
I mean we don't have the money for it. I know.
That's true. But and especially a place like Australia, Anu, obviously, flying from Perth. Actually, flying from Hobart to Perth is about 4 hours and 45 minutes. It's as long as flying from Colombo to Dubai.
Okay.
In the same country.
Yeah.
And the time difference is huge. And from from Perth to Melbourne, there's a massive time difference.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
your body clock also needs to sort of get adjusted.
Yeah.
It's taxing, but at the end of the day, lots of people will turn around and say, listen, they're professional cricketers.
Yeah.
This is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
This is how they obviously earn their livelihood, so they have to sort of get used to it. But,
But we need to facilitate this. I strongly feel that we should have a cricketing village near Alice Springs or something.
Rex is back. No, Rex is not back, unfortunately. I think he's. I just hope that he hasn't been pulled up by the authorities at the airport. What are you doing here?
Even if he was pulled up, he's probably a Sri Lankan. Rex, yeah. It is what it is, but anyway, most of Australia, I wouldn't be surprised, just like, Rishi Sunak has, Indian has become Prime Minister of England, very soon a Sri Lankan might be Prime Minister of Australia. There are so many Sri Lankans there.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yes, but we actually did get lots of stuff out of Rex, and in terms of the composition and in terms of what to look forward to. Time for us to take a quick break, and we'll come back right after this, right here on the Softlogic Live Payback World Cup Series.
Come on Sri Lanka. අපිට පුළුවන්.
Softlogic Live ලංකාවේ හොඳම සෞඛ්‍ය රක්ෂණයෙන් සුබ පැතුම්.
Corporate events, weddings, concerts, or simply getting fuel with your QR code. Let us help you take your big day to the world with a professional broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, MS Teams, or your website at the most affordable rates. So give us a call and let's go live. PodHub.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraz.
අභියෝගය මොකක් වුණත් මේ රට දිනනවාමයි. Come on Sri Lanka. අපිට පුළුවන්.
Softlogic Live ලංකාවේ හොඳම සෞඛ්‍ය රක්ෂණයෙන් සුබ පැතුම්.
Well, we are back, and it appears that technology has let us down badly, as usual.
All the Australian authorities.
So, I don't see the point. Call yourself a first world country, and what on earth?
Yeah, actually, come to think of it, I overheard a conversation of two other very prominent individuals,
Right.
Who are having a conversation, who required to actually do an interview. One from Australia and one from Sri Lanka. The one from Sri Lanka has been waiting for this individual from Australia to actually get a proper connection, right? To get a hold of this interview sorted out. And it took him like over half an hour to find a place where he got proper connection, where this guy has been just sitting at home saying, hello, I'm sitting at home and I got good connection. In that way, we're streaks ahead.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we can't get through to Rex. Like we said earlier on, Rex is at the Perth International Airport, waiting for his flight off to Sydney, where Sri Lanka take on New Zealand, which is going to be another crucial match for Sri Lanka on Saturday. Yeah.
Absolutely, but I'm really looking forward to that, because I want to see our spin attack in play.
Yeah.
And how New Zealand is a very consummate side.
Yeah.
There's no joke playing with them. So if you actually master them, pretty much we can kind of pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and kind of face anybody else.
Yeah, look, if you can knock over New Zealand, it's great. But we've had very good history in the World Cups against New Zealand.
Yes.
We've always basically overcome New Zealand in the World Cups. And I still remember, I think it's 2014 T20 World Cup in Bangladesh, where New Zealand knocked us out for like 120 or something like that.
Right.
And we thought that was it, we're done. but Rangana Herat came up with his amazing bowling performance. 5 wickets for 3 runs or something like that.
Yes.
And where did this come from? So
New Zealand was...
New Zealand like, hello. Yeah, so we do have good history against New Zealand in all the ICC World Cups. So hopefully that could actually repeat itself. But a different crop of players on both teams. You never know how far this can actually go.
Yeah. Let's hope and pray, because predictions, Shaq, what do you think?
For what?
Score?
New Zealand?
Yeah, well, Sri Lanka, first of all.
Abhi heta karam, heta vasi, you know.
Okay.
We can do that tomorrow. But but Sydney, good ground. We have always had also a good performance. Sri Lanka has had good performances in Sydney in the past. Every time we visited Australia. So yes, good history against New Zealand. One of our favorite, if not our favorite, Australian ground is Sydney. So these things are sort of going for us. It all depends on how the players play on that day.
Yeah, I actually thought the MCG was our favorite.
MCG is good. MCG obviously has got a lot of more Sri Lankans.
The support-wise.
Support-wise.
Yeah.
So MCG, SCG, two of the best grounds that Sri Lankans love to play, purely because the support-wise.
Yeah,
and especially when Sri Lanka plays Australia, you got more Sri Lankans there.
Yeah, that's true.
Australians are
If I was the Australian government, I would identify you.
Yeah.
You call yourselves Australian citizens. Anyway, another completely different question, which is usually asked about the Olympics. How often are cricketers, like international cricketers, tested for performance-enhancing drugs?
I really it's a very good question. I think they're randomly tested.
Yeah.
I don't think it is sort of brought out into the open too much.
Yeah.
I suppose. I think they're random.
And there haven't been any reports of any performance enhancers amongst cricketers. Has there? I mean, I can't remember anything.
I really can't. No, I don't know how. Look, we're not necessarily in this industry, but I don't know how a performance enhancing drug can actually enhance somebody bowling a ball.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, after all, it's a lot of technique. Your fitness is your fitness.
Unless you see an alarming rise in speed where somebody is bowling like 80 kilometers an hour and suddenly bowls 150.
Yeah.
Hello, something's wrong there. Come over here. Yeah. Here's the bottle.
No, that is the Bodhi Puja we're talking there. Or suddenly your recently demised grandmother decided to visit you. There. All
right, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we're going to be back on the show at 9:30. And Chamit Davas is going to be in the studio. We're going to be discussing in extent and extensively. We're going to be talking about the match against New Zealand on Saturday. Yeah.
All right. Till then, just hold on to your horses and keep praying. No more injuries.
Yeah, that's all we need. Have yourself a good night, everybody. We'll speak to you tomorrow night.
Take care. Bye-bye.